What's the intro, Sal?
Well, Pete wants to call it pools for dummies or dummies for pools, but I'm not convinced. Either way, after 2.5 years of getting this pool up and running, and then another, I suppose we've had 2 years now of running it, our learning curve has been like that.
Our learning curve?
Oh.
Really? Is it our learning curve?
Sorry. The reason why you're going to hear a lot of Pete's voice in this video is because he knows more about it than I do. Pete's learning curve has been like that. I've gratefully watched him dealing with all the issues as they've come up. So this episode, welcome to this episode. It's all about what we've learned, some of the key lessons learned over the last 2 years since getting the pool running.
Because we knew nothing about pools at all, the first bit that I'm going to start off with is, if you're going to get a pool, try and get the right pool with the right equipment. Fortunately for us, our plumbers who did all of the work for us were great, because what they actually bought was fantastic kit that was good for us. But if we'd have got someone else in, we'd have ended up with something that we probably didn't want, probably wouldn't be able to look after because we're away for so long, and it would probably be a lot more labour intensive. The only thing that we did do is we had someone that was visiting and they had a saltwater pool in...
You might want to get him out.
Out. Get out. We had a saltwater pool. We had someone visiting and they were talking about their saltwater pool, and I did a bit of research, and so basically the only thing I told the plumbers is we wanted a saltwater pool, which was really good because it's turned out to be fantastic, not only for the feel of the water, but for the automatics that put into it.
It's lovely. It's really, really lovely on the skin.
So what we've actually ended up with, and thank you the plumbers, they were so good.
Grazie mille.
Grazie mille, is that we've ended up with a saltwater pool with a pumping system, which is pretty much automatic. The salt plate, which turns some of the salt into chlorine, is automatic. You just have to adjust it slightly during the season. And the pH dispenser, which is automatic, which you only need to top up occasionally. So without those, we'd be stuffed, because we're basically out away all the time, and we'd have to get someone in to do this, put chemicals in. Even when we're here, you basically don't have to do anything apart from the occasional check. So again, if you're going to get a pool, make sure you get a pool that's right for you and right for running. And really, I would go for as automated as possible, especially if you're going to spend time in and away. Something that I never really considered, which you should do, especially if you don't have a pozzo for a ready supply of water, is evaporation, pool evaporation. It's a massive factor. Pools evaporate during the day under the heat, and they can evaporate in all sorts of rates depending on the climatic conditions, where hot it is, the wind, the humidity. And because we power our pool top up from 2 tanks that are behind the lavanderier, which has about 3,500 litres in it, I've actually worked out that on average our evaporation rate for a pool this size, which is only 5x3,
6x3, sorry.
Sorry, 6x3, is about 50 litres a day. And that's 50 litres a day when we actually put the cover on at night to reduce the evaporation rate and take it off later in the morning. In the peak of the summer, that evaporation rate may hit 100 litres a day. The bigger the pool, the faster the evaporation. So most people who have pools will probably have pozzos, which will start topping it up.
A pozzo is a well.
Yeah, pozzo is a well.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a well, or if all of a sudden the people that do have wells having to top it up a lot, we've heard a lot of stories about, oh, I've got a leak, I've got this. No, if you've got a very big pool in this area, you could be losing somewhere in the region of 1,000 litres a week with a big pool, which is a huge amount. But we've worked out that by using the sun cover at night, leaving it on sensibly and taking it off sensibly, we're reducing it down to about a 3mm loss in the hot weather here. But honestly, water evaporation, you have to think about it.
Not to be underestimated.
Yeah, not to underestimate it, because it's a big driver. And whatever you do, we've got a auto water top-up facility automatically put in, and again the plumbers did that because I had no clue.
Yay.
And it's a good job they did do that, because otherwise we'd be stuffed, because when we're away it would go down, no way to top it up automatically, and then the pool would turn green, then we'd have to get the plumbers out, blah blah blah. So really useful.
This is Atty doing what he shouldn't be doing, which is, and we can't stop him. I've got water things all around the place, but he still insists on having a drink of salt water every morning.
Odd.
Very odd behaviour. The solar cover, we've got one. It's a very cheap blue plasticky thing, and we put it on at nights. The pros of the solar cover are, firstly, that it keeps the pool cleaner. And as you can see, we didn't put the cover on last night because the water got a bit too warm the day before and we wanted to cool it down again. But this morning, there's a whole load of rubbish on the bottom of the pool. So if you do put your solar cover on at night, it does keep the pool cleaner. When you take it off in the morning, there's less cleaning to do. The other pro for the solar cover is that it reduces the evaporation at night. So we take ours off in the morning and we put it on at night during the summer. And it definitely reduces the loss of the water from the pool. The third reason for the solar cover is, remind me, oh yes, when it's not so warm, so you can tell I don't do this for my day job. When it's not so warm, like May when we first open it, even into June sometimes, and then at the latter end of the summer, it can get quite cold, the water. So actually what the cover does, if it's kept on for longer when the sun is out, it does keep it warmer. The major con, and the only con I can think about, apart from having to physically take it on and off, which is a bit of a trial, but there you go, we went for the cheapest version, is that if you leave your solar cover on in the hot days of the summer, the water temperature will go up and up and up. So you have to take it off in the morning so that the water actually doesn't overheat. And in our first summer of 2023, we didn't understand that. So we left for 3 months and left our cover on.
Well, that's not true. We left the cover on because the neighbours were going to come in and use it once or twice a week.
Once or twice a week, but it was left on in between, right?
Yeah.
So, and the water level had dropped. So basically, within about 3 weeks, the whole thing went green with algae.
And it was so hot they couldn't put the
It was a recipe for disaster.
It was a green soup.
The water level had dropped because we didn't understand evaporation. We didn't have an auto top-up going, so we didn't really appreciate that the water level could drop if people were using the pool a lot, and evaporation. And we didn't understand that the solar cover was going to create more problems with the heat of the water and create a green pool.
And it really doesn't help if you have visitors here who don't understand it either and start bombing from the side.
No.
And exiting lots of water that way.
On top of the evaporation, it really didn't help.
So we basically,
We've learnt solar covers.
Yeah.
Pros and cons. Oh, you funny creature. Hey? You love it when we're out and about doing all this.
And the reason we bought the sun loungers was for Atty.
Not at all. He's at a dog-like behaviour today.
This is our purpose-bought winter cover that we've put on over the winter, and it's held down by water ballasted bags that go all the way around it. So we're just about to de-winterize the pool. Okay, carrying on and I feel like a bit of a dummy now, so it's probably right, dummies for pools.
Pools for dummies.
We got the pool, I went, right, we need something that we need to clean it with. So I sort of did some research, and then we ended up with this semi-automatic thing that you put into the skimmer basket and it bounces around. I can give you a top tip on that, don't buy one. Honestly, not worth it. So we tried that for a while, and that didn't work.
It's like using a Hoover underwater, isn't
Well,
it?
yeah, it's an automatic bouncing Hoover that you can't control. Anyway, So we did that, and that one really didn't work at all. Then I went round using the same hoses from the bit that didn't work with a little pole and a little brush that you roll up and down. It's manual, but it's the most effective way of cleaning the bottom of the pool. But that plugs into the skimmer with a suction, and we've got photos of me putting it up here as well. And then last year we decided, because the filter and because we've got solar on it now, and we run the pool pump pretty much all day because we can, which keeps it very clean, we decided that we were going to get a Robbie robot. Yeah, we invested
in Robbie.
We invested in Robbie the robot cleaner, and we drop him in, and then he basically cleans the bottom of the floor. And when Sally was here by herself, just using that every other day, the pool was sparkling. So I think when you get a pool, think carefully about how you're going to clean it if you're going to do it yourself, and what equipment you're going to do. The end for us is to clean the bottom properly, manually with a brush, with a hose. That works the best. The pool cleaner, the Robbie robot cleaner, is great for day-to-day use. You drop him in, let him be. The only other thing that I would say is, again, a learning lesson. People wear sun creams and all sorts of other stuff, and they got body fats when they get in there, and it sits on the top, and it sits, you can see a dark line around our pool at the moment. What we're doing now is we're using a little hand sponge every day, just to put a little bit of water on and just scrape round the waterline level to try and keep it back. And then you should, once a month, use a cleaning solution on that sponge and go round as well, because otherwise what happens, it builds up on the side, and we've let it go for too long now, and we've got a dark line. And in the winter time, if you've got anything left on it, it turns into mold, and it's really bad to get rid of. So retrospectively, I wish we got those little sponges and we did it as every day when we were here, and every week cleaning it. But there you go.
So can I introduce people to a little clip of Pete getting soaked? Because I'm sure the salt cell something or other needs cleaning. And
the other thing is, I'll go around, because Sally loves this bit. Because we've got a salt cell in there, that needs to be cleaned once a year at the end of the year. Basically, it's an electric plate which actually breaks down the salt and turns it into a chlorine component, and that keeps it in there. So I decided, because I do things like this, I was going to make my own salt cell cleaner out of a bit of 80mm pipe, and I'm going to put a few pictures up as I'm doing it. And then you've got to take this out to actually clean it and put it back in. And I've learned that although they've got shut-off valves in the pool system, they obviously don't work very well, because with the shut-off valves closed, I got drenched.
So enjoy this little clip.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of clip, and Sally's insisted she puts it in, because every time she watches it, she laughs.
Because you so rarely do things wrong.
No, I hadn't done it wrong. It's because the valves are closed and it lets the water through.
Got you completely caught out.
I know, it is.
And wet.
So anyway, the salt cell cleaner as well, if you've got it, make sure you clean that one as well if it's a salt water pool. And I'll probably put a little short on how I made my little salt cell cleaner, because it was fantastic. Cost nothing, and it works really well. Okay, part of the cleaning of the pool that we've learned is this is a salt water pool, and it's got a salt cell which is in here, and it gets caked up occasionally with hard deposits, and you need to put it into a container with diluted muriatic acid to actually clean the plates. So I think you might want to stop that one, Sal. Oh, there shouldn't have been any water coming through that, because both the valves are switched off, and it should be pumping round and going round and not going into this, but it obviously wasn't. I'm full of water. Anyway, I've turned the pump off, or eventually Sally's turned the pump off when she found it, and this is the salt cell. Obviously they come in different sizes. This is the cell itself, and it gets caked up on these areas here. So what I've done, oh, I'm soaking. Got it in the face. What I had, this is just a bit of 80mm land pipe, okay? There's an end cap on it, and so I've put the end cap on, glued it, and then I've used a hot glue gun to seal it at the bottom. This is 80mm, by the way. This sits in perfectly. So what I can do now is I can put my muriatic acid in here. I can put it into, I'll leave it here. I can put it into a bucket, put the water in first, then the acid. Then I just drop this one in. And you hear it fizz and bubble, and it cleans the plates. Takes about 2 minutes. Obviously when you take it out, you need to wash it off, and nothing spilt out of this, which is really good. And then you can actually get rid of the muriatic acid. So these bits were lying around and I made it. Obviously if you've got a bigger plate, you might need a 100mm pipe rather than 80mm pipe, but yeah, dead cheap, works brilliantly. There you go. And I'm soaking wet now. I'm going to put it back in and stop laughing, Sally. I'm a bit odd really, because I quite enjoy reading manuals. Don't laugh. Sally doesn't read the manuals, I do.
You don't sleep very much.
I don't sleep very much as well. So although I did read the manuals, I didn't read them thoroughly enough to look at all the things I needed to do properly. I have subsequently reread the manuals and made notes on all the different manuals for all the different bits of equipment. And if you're going to look after the pool yourself, I really suggest you do that, because there's some really good things in the manuals that you really shouldn't miss out, because it will make your life so much easier. One of the things that is in the manual itself, the filter here, which is really the heart of the system keeping the pool clean, the sand filter, is that you need to back flush it, which basically means you reverse the cycle and it turns the water in the opposite direction and pushes the rubbish that's in the sand inside this big filter out and throws it out over the land. There is a sequence to doing this, and if anyone's got one and doesn't follow the sequence, be careful, because you may end up breaking the whole back flushing and filter system. And it's quite simple. It says in the manual that you should rotate the handle only in one direction on the top here, and you should move it in between the selections as you move it around as you're doing it. I mean, things like that, the manufacturer says, is obviously because there's a big diaphragm on the top, and if you rotate it around quickly and don't do what it's done, it's just going to break and you're going to have to get it repaired. So I've learned about back flushing, because no one told us anything about this.
Never heard of the word.
Yeah, and there's a little sight glass on, and now, having read the manual and having done it properly now, I can go, oh, that's easy, that. So I might even put a short up of that, because it's easy now. But the other thing, and most important thing, is when they put the pool in with the back flush, because I didn't understand it, I didn't realise that it'll suck the pool out here and chuck a whole load of water out onto the land. And all they did is they drilled a hole through the wall and put a pipe in. So the piping comes through the wall and it just dumped onto the land over here. And it's a lot of water, and it's got chemicals and all sorts in it. So what I've done now, and Sally will show you our little area in a minute, is that we're going to put a soak away. So if you get a pool and you're going to have a back flush, you will have a back flush system for your filter. My advice is do a bit of extra work, or get them to do a little bit of extra work, and actually put a proper soak away in for the water. It doesn't have to be too big, but it's really useful. So Sally, tell us about the soak away.
This is our soak away. Now, originally what the plumbers did, bless them, because they were very good, was put the white pipe in. So the white pipe is what they did, coming through the wall. So of course the water was just going everywhere. What Pete's done to try and help with the drainage of this salt water, effectively, so it's not brilliant for the land, is he's added some pipe, and he's put holes in it, And what we did was get the excavator in when we had him in to do the trees anyway. So we excavated this section out completely. We're filling it with rocks, and eventually it will have a nice gravel topping on it. But there's basically, the water is going into a proper drainage area now, which has been designed specifically to try and help that water to go away without affecting too many of the plants on the land and causing flooding and problems.
Now when you actually do it, with the amount of water for one flush, it basically fills up this whole rectangle with water.
And then gradually
subsides down. So yeah.
It was worth doing.
It was worth doing, and I will tart it up and I'll make sure it looks nice, but practical first, and then we'll finish it off aesthetically.
Absolutely, yes.
Another learning point for me was chlorination. Pool chlorination. I think you have to appreciate, even if you're doing it yourself or you've got an automatic system, about how the chlorine breaks down once you've put it in, however you put it in, whether it's a chlorine tablet or an auto chlorine dispenser or a saltwater pump which has got an electrolysis which makes a chlorine component. Basically the pool is chlorinated, but when the sun is out it'll break down the chlorine, so you need less during the not hot summer periods of chlorine because the sun is not as strong. So when it's a long, strong, sunny day, during the whole day the sun will break down any chlorine that you put into it. If you don't put chlorine into a pool for 2 days, you'll have no chlorine in it because the sun will have broken down all of the chlorine. So actually managing the chlorine is quite interesting, because you go, well, when are we going to test it? If I test it in the morning, it might be quite good, but if I test it in the middle of the day and I haven't put a chlorine, or the chlorine isn't working, it'll go down. So you have to appreciate the fact that when you do one of these tests, when you're doing it, when the chlorine was put into it, and what the climatic conditions are, because if you did it sort of 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you hadn't had the pool pump on, or you hadn't chlorinated it, there won't be a lot of chlorine in there. That doesn't mean you've got to add chlorine to it. You've just got to understand the system so you keep an average chlorine level throughout the 24-hour period. And also the pH as well. If you don't have the right chlorine level, the pH doesn't work. So they're sort of linked into each other. So you need the right chlorine level and the right pH level to work together to keep the pool in best condition. The last thing on the pool really is running cost and pool pump. So the theory behind the pool pump is that you need to put the whole volume of the pool through the filter system twice. Now you can actually physically work that out, because if you know what pump you have, it tells you how many litres per hour it will push through, and you know what the litres are in your pool, so you can actually work it out. If you work that out, as we did with ours, we've got a 6x3 pool by 1.4 metres, and we've got a 3/4 horsepower pump. When you work those details out, to filter our pool water twice for our particular pool with our particular pump, it takes 4.5 hours. So if you think about that and you go, okay, well, I need to run the pump to clean the water twice in total in a day, so I've got to run the pump for 4.5 hours. In Italy, electricity is so expensive that if you don't have solar, I think it's probably well worth you working it out with how much your pump pushes through with the volume of your water, to see how long you actually need to run that pump for per day to do 2 water cycle changes in the pool. Obviously the bigger the pool, the longer it's going to get, because you've got more water in it. However, the bigger pools have a lot bigger pumps, so you'll be surprised if you did the maths. And I'm going to put up a little mathsy thing up here while I'm talking, so you can actually make it.
This is why you do this and not me.
Conversely, if you have solar, and this is our solar system that we put in, and I've just upgraded it to an 8,000 volt amp system with almost 6,000 watts of solar, which means we have so much power that what I do now is, because power is not the issue, I will run the pump from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night continually, because it's not going to harm the pool. It's going to be continually cleaning the pool.
And it's free.
It's free now. And also the fact that pool pumps like to run. So pumps like to run for long periods of times without getting interrupted. So the upshot is, if you've got a pool and you haven't got solar, work out how many hours you actually need to run the pool. Because if the pool itself, our pump is only a 3/4 horsepower pump, and it pulls about 700 watts. Most of the bigger pools, say if you've got a 1 horsepower pump, pulls 1,000 watts and you're running 8 hours a day. That's 8 kilowatts a day. Yeah, 240 kilowatts a month. And given the fact that it's, the electricity is so expensive here, you're probably looking at least 150, 120 euros a month. Run the pool for 5 months of the year, you're looking at about 600 euros to run that pool if you don't think about the costs. So if you work out what your pool running costs and you reduce that by, say, 20%, 30%, you could be saving yourself 200 euros, have yourself a nice meal, rather than actually pay for electricity they don't use. So give a little thought to it, work it out, and if you haven't got the solar, I would suggest trying to economise, doing what's necessary, but not wasting your money.
So, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. My best advice, by the way, is get the right man in the first place if you're a lady like me. Get the right pool boy, yay! Who's learned so much. I would love to say that I've learned so much, but actually Pete's learned so much over the last couple of years, and we hope that you've benefited from us sharing those lessons with you. If you have and you'd like to subscribe, please press the button down here and join us on future episodes, which come out every 3 weeks. If you'd like to give us a thumbs up, we'd love that. And if you want to make a comment or give us some feedback, we usually reply within 24 hours. Thank you very much.